The only thing that's unifying this is that the majority of the stones are in red orange color on the color wheel, and right in analogous again to the green, like this piece was, okay, with the green down there. But it's really lacking in emphasis. So I think the design of this piece falls flat. Um, it it's it's like, and the shapes too. It's not unified by shapes. The only similar shapes are these. Well, there's two round, but there's a rectangle, an oval, a pear, and then two odd looking art glass pieces that aren't even the same shape. Again, this is not signed. So, in my opinion, color, the fact that they're all warm colors, yes, Mel, might be helping this piece. And Deborah's talking about there's a sense of movement. Well, these pieces right here on the stem do create movement. But as far as being unified, I think personally the design is lacking. It's not lacking in cat fuzz. Sorry about that. But, I have told y'all all along that just because a piece has been made and it's out there and it sells doesn't make it necessarily a good design. It's, I mean, even though this is just one color, I prefer this design. Seems to be more unified than this one. They're very different. This is symmetrical. This is asymmetrical. But then we look at this piece, and I find myself looking at this one more than I will this. So there's that. All right, let's look at some Scaparelli. That is a designer that I personally have been trying to investigate. She was a strange. She was a strange designer. Very back in the late 30s and 40s and 50s, Scaparelli. She was kind of a rogue designer, considered avant-garde, experimenting both in color and shapes. And I really don't have any, and really haven't seen really any, I think, ideal representation of her work. And I don't know that I could describe to you what that is. But when I look at these earrings compared to, let's say, this piece, do you see how this one seems to be more complete in its design than this one? This one, your eye is scattered. It keeps looking for a place to light, whereas here in this single earring, your eye does tend to light right on this piece that is the hottest color in the design, that piece of art glass. And then there's definitely movement in the piece with this repeated peach colored faux pearl shape. I think the focal point is this hot piece of art glass. There is variety, great variety. Look at that, it's key. That's the key piece. But then, even though these are repeated, uh, there's these little rondelles in between of seed pearls. Tremendous variety. And in my opinion, the design is very unified, has a lot of rhythm, a lot of movement to it. I think the color scheme is very sophisticated. It is unified by being all pretty much the same color, different shades and tints of orange. In my opinion, these earrings are much better designed than this piece. But that's my opinion too. All right. And everybody's going to have a different aesthetic sensibility, uh, and and that's okay. My husband used to say if we all uh, liked the same thing, this world would be a pretty dull place, and I agree. Here's a pair of earrings that are, let's see who these are by. I think they're signed. Yeah, these are by Vogue. And first of all, you notice that it's all the same shape. Each earring is has glass beads on it that are all the same shape. There's three. There's that odd number, which is good. Two is not good. One, three, five is better than two or four, and that principle holds true here with these by that are Juliana. That center stone is one stone. I'm going to show you some others later on where that same principle of odd numbers works better than just two. In fact, you can see this piece that I had said this design is just to me a little iffy, and you can see right away that you've got two main stones. There's two of them, but there's only one center stone. That works. But there are three basic elements. The little ones, so that does work. But back to this one. What if all of the stones had been this color right here, the red? Well, then this design would be lacking in variety because it'd be all the same shape, uh, all all three beads are the same shape, and if all of them were the same color, this would lack a bit of variety. But the designer just put a tint of red in one bead, and look at the difference that it made. I mean, that wee bit of variety added to the color and made all the difference in the world with this piece. And I wish I had another another set to compare that was all one color so you could really see the difference. But watch for that. Watch for variety. And now, emphasis. Is there an emphasis, a place of emphasis, a focal point on these? Well, the lighter color seems to draw my eye first, but barely, but only because it's different. Let's go back to this one where I said, these clear stone brooches are sometimes hard to sell. Where is the focal point on this? And there's not really one. And I think it's one of the reasons why this is a little weaker than this one. The focal point seems to be uh, because of the use of line, and it's pushing your eye into this center cluster, and that is seems to be where you look first, even though it's all one color. It's very subtle. Let's go back. Where does your eye look first? Well, you see how your eye keeps moving around trying to find. Same with this one. Your eye keeps moving around trying to find a place to light. So there's not a focal point. All right. I think I have shown all of the examples that I wanted to show to teach. The last three, I told you the last three would be quick, emphasis, um, variety, and unity. And so, what I would like to do now is let me move these pieces that I've just used as demonstration. Let me move those off of my. Let me move those off. Hang on. Get them out of the way because none of those are for sale. And let's look at some that are for sale, and we can give them a critique. Give it a critique. Let's start with this set right here. Little demi-pure set. It's a brooch with matching earrings. And this is by Sarah Coventry, I think. Yes, Sarah Coventry. It's quite large, as you can see. Here's a good example of the use of three rather than one or excuse me, rather than two or four, even three green, three pink. Now there are four pearls, but the predominant stones in the brooch are 3 and 3, and that is not repeated in the earrings. the designer chose to go back to just two, but the I think the main stone in the earrings is the green stone. So, and there's just one of them and one pearl. So that goes back to working. Variety, yes, we've got variety in texture, shape, color, the use of line. I think this is absolutely, I think it's pretty too. I do. Welcome in everybody that's coming in. We're finishing up the last teaching in our language of design. We've been looking at principles tonight. We're looking at variety, which is used here. The designer used a variety of elements: line, shape, color, texture. Look at the texture. Look at the contrast between this gold coral looking construction with those smooth, I guess those are like thermoset stones, faux pearls, and beautiful large green, olive green navettes that are repeated, by the way. So a lot of repetition of line. But let's stop for just a second. Let me kind of take you through the process that I go through with just about every piece of jewelry I look at. The first thing that I'm wanting to take note of is what is the focal point? Where did the designer want me to look first? Now, I don't even have to think that. It's I just naturally paying attention to where do I look first in the design. So let's just take the brooch. And I tend to look right, and probably y'all too, right square in this area. And the reason why is not just because it's in the middle, but because this pink color is a tint of red, it is a warm color, and even the green is a yellow green. So this is warm right in here. And anywhere that you have a warm to hot color, you're going to look first versus if it was blue or any cool colors. So wonderful, amazing focal point on this brooch. It's achieved in the earrings also. So, yay, that works for me. So, that covers the principle of emphasis. There is a focal point, a place, area that is emphasized. And then I'm going to look at, I usually kind of next look at how the designer used the basic elements like line, Line. And in this one, there are a lot of lines that look like he's creating like the look of coral to me in nature. And the line is creating quite a bit of movement. It's wanting my eye to go out and come back in, go out and come back in, go out and come back in, which is very, very clever of this designer to do that. It's not just going out; it's also coming back in. And then the repetition of shapes. First of all, the shape of the brooch itself is round, which is repeated in these beautiful faux pearls and in these little rhinestones that you notice out in the coral. And then there's tiny little uh, beads of metal, of gold tone metal, that are little circular dots. This is a Sarah Cove, and I'm telling you, when I first saw it, I was so impressed with it. Here's the back. It's very well made. There's the stamp. This to me is a very successful design and absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if y'all agree. We all have different taste. Maybe you don't like pink, okay? So personal preferences of colors can enter in. But from a design standpoint, this is very, very successful. And before we go any further, let's see what I can. Whew, I have got, I'm going to have to start this one um, at a higher price than I would like to start off with, but uh, it is well worth it. I'm asking $25 for this set, which I actually paid more. Yeah, Deborah, don't blame me for jumping on it. And it is running down 15 seconds, 14 seconds. Actually, I'm going to tell y'all I paid $43 for this. and I know it is well worth it. But I uh, am now making some critical decisions in my collection and am happy to move some things over, even if I'm taking a loss. I've got to get my collection under control. So, thank you, Deborah. I couldn't have asked for this to have gone to anybody sweeter. That's number one, and at $25, and that was Deborah. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's a beautiful, beautiful set. I congratulate you. All right, let me quickly just move those off the stage. Okay, thank you. All right, I think the next set we can look at is another named piece. This is a Florenza. It's a demi-pour. I have the bracelet and the brooch. And I'm thinking, yeah, this could also be a pendant, which is a nice, um, makes it nicely adaptable. Florenza is a really quality. I think I collect. I've got a lot of Florenza, and when I looked at what I might could pass on, I looked at this piece simply because it's really a nice one to. You're collecting sets. It's a nice one to kind of summarize what we've been talking about for the last weeks. First of all, where's my focal point? Where do I find myself looking first? And let's just do the brooch first. And I think most of us would probably agree we look smack dab in the center. And it's not just because that large stone is in the center, in my opinion, it's because of all of those wonderful hot yellows and oranges and reds. You see that? And that confetti type stone that's in there, that stone has got a glow to it, and I call that a confetti. It's mimicking an opal. Of course, it's not, it's glass, but it's a nice reproduction. Look at the fire in that. So that is where I think we enter this piece. And then the second thing I want to look at is the use of the elements. And line, I don't think line, line is not as strong an element in this piece uh, as I noticed shape, this beautiful oval shape, and then it's picked up with all of these circular pronged. All of those are pronged. A couple of pear shaped there for variety. Yay, adds variety. But and the way that and this is typical of Frenza. This is metal work around these pronged stones. You see all those little points, and it's mimicking a steel point from the Victorian period. In fact, for Frenza, this is a Victorian revival brooch. Beautiful dangle hanging from it. I also am struck by the principle of balance when I look at this. It is symmetrical, beautifully symmetrically designed, a line right down the middle. It is identical on both sides. Very nicely done. And then another thing that I noticed that's an element of design is texture. Do y'all agree the texture of this thing is luscious? I mean, it's probably texture makes me keep looking at it. Uh, and just the detail of in the oval around this stone, all of those little rope lines going around that is repeated elsewhere. The texture is just amazing. And then we have the bracelet that was designed to go with it. And what they did is they took that fire opal stone and repeated it in these panels and the colors. uh, shapes shapes are repeated, but variety, a lot of variety going on here. It's not all this shape. Look at this panel, it's different. Do you see? So there's a great sense of variety both in color and in shape. So This is a Florenza, and it is beautiful. Now, before we move on, and I put this up for sale, I want to show you a Hobay. This is not for sale. But Hobay was another high-end designer that also did the Victorian revival work. These are probably from the well, I'm not sure when the Florenza was. Might have been the 70s, 60s or 70s, but I think Hobay was much earlier than that. It's Let's look at, first of all, focal point. Where do you find yourself looking first? On this one, I'm fighting between here and here. That warm color that's dangling. Yeah, Rosie, I think I got this from you. I think I bought this from you. It's one of my prized pieces in my Hobay collection. This stone catches my eye because it's a hot color, but because that's centrally located and there is warmth to that green yellow sort of, I think it's mimicking a citrine. But look at the variety. The variety now, because all the other stones that are set, prawn set, are all the same size. But the designer used variety as a principle to create interest. And then the shape, again, is perfectly symmetrical. So it's got variety working for it. It's got a lot of movement, literal movement, but the way the lines are swirling. And Hobay was famous for these little swirly. See the work, and it's repeated over and over. That's a pattern that is repeated, and Hobay was noted for that. Here's the back of it, but this piece is not for sale. But I wanted to show the similarity between these two pieces. Both of these are extremely elegant. How do you spell Hobay? Hobe. And let's see if I can. I don't know if I can get it to show. It's Hobe. I don't know if you can see it right there or not. There you go. Thank you, Deborah. Appreciate that. Okay, well, let's go back now to the Florenza. And Florenza is like Florence, Florenca, Florenza. And I'm going to put this one. This is again. Thank you. You're welcome. It is. Listen, if you can find Hobays, they're very collectible. That one's in my collection. But the Florenza I'm going to sell. It also is a little bit more expensive than some of the others that I can show you here in just a little bit. Um, Moving this to stage, I've got this also for $25, and I'm thinking I paid uh, more for this one. Yeah, I paid 48 for this. This is in the Contessa collection. It's a book piece, and Rosie's getting it for a steal. Anybody else interested in this Florenza piece? Hey, Desiree, man, I've been missing you, girl. Hey. Okay, look at you, Rosie B. We'll look for a bracelet on its own. Yeah. Uh, Man, if you can find the bracelet that matches the Hobay, contact me. Let me, hang on just a second. That Hobay lost its tag. Let me get it back on. All right. Okay. This is going to Miss Rosie B, otherwise known as Deborah. And thank you so very much. And that was number 2 at 25, and that's Rosie. Let me put that in a separate bag. Rosie, I'll pack them really good for you, so that they're not. I'm throwing them in this bag. I'm throwing them in one bag initially, but I'll separate them out when I go to mail them. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, what else have I got here? Let's look at something a little less expensive, but still spectacular. This is not a set, but both of these are by Avon. Let's look at the necklace first. As resellers, we end up with lots of necklaces to sell, and you can still talk about things like focal point, variety, emphasis, unity, and all the different elements that are involved. But what I'm doing with you now is the process I go through personally when I'm looking at an item. So on this one, where I tend to look first is I think I'm looking, obviously, with a pendant on a necklace, you're going to look in that area. But right away, I'm noticing the eyes, and I'm kind of drawn. My eyes can't settle in one particular place, but those are the hot spots, that color red. Uh, and I'm to me, this design is not quite as successful as far as focal point is concerned, but if you linger long enough looking at it, it does come to you, those beautiful, beautiful red eyes. And what if he had chosen green or blue? It wouldn't have been quite as strong. The designer needed some place to anchor your eye, and that hot red color does it. All right, now how about the other design element of he's got three fish, not two. What if there was just two? Look at that. Do you see how that is not nearly? That's kind of ho hum. It's not nearly as interesting. But you add that third element, bang, that does it. That has unified now the design. A lot of line, a lot of movement, the shapes, a lot of line within the shapes. The variety in this piece is you're having to push for variety because you've got all the same tonal value of the gold tone metal, which is similar to what's in the chain. You've got a variety of color here between the red and the gold, and the chase work that's on the metal pieces itself is very subtle. So there's not a lot of variety working in this piece, but um, from the standpoint of balance, it's a wonderful symmetrical design, line down the middle. It's almost identical, uh, one side to the other. I would call this approximate symmetry. It's not perfectly symmetrical, and it's not asymmetrical. It is what I'd call approximate symmetry. It reads more symmetrical than asymmetrical. There's the back, nice textured, and this is, what did I tell y'all this was? Well, let me look at it. Hang on just a minute. I don't know why I'm questioning who made it. I think I told you it was Avon, but it's Sarah Cove. This is Sarah Cove. Sarah Coventry. We're on Sarah Coventry tonight. So there is that necklace. And let's look at it from, it's got a spring ring. Everything's in good condition on it. It looks like it is 18 inches. 18 inches. All right, so let's run that. I'll be able to run that at a very reasonable price. Um, okay, that's running. Got it running for $5. Sarah Cove. It is signed. Very strong piece. Thank you. And I would love to see this maybe layered with or earrings that would pick up that red color, that red stone. Shame I'm not selling my Vogue earrings, but that would be a nice match. So, Bumble and Light, you've just won that. If you've got some earrings similar to these Vogue earrings, let's see how much I've got on those Vogue earrings. Um, I can sell these Vogue earrings for 15 if you're interested. If you are, tell me to run them and I'll run them, and then you'll have, I think, a nice set, a married set. Be married. You have a set of. Oh well, good. Look at there. So she's already got a set in mind. Congratulations. That is awesome. Okay. All right. While I'm bagging that up, y'all take a look at. Let's see if I can get it. Y'all take a look at this Avon brooch that is really spectacular. And that's not doing it justice. Let's see. I'm trying to get it down here so you can see it a little bit better. Okay. There. While I'm bagging up her item, be feasting your eyes on this piece by Avon, which, by the way, I have the box that goes with it. So let me put that necklace away. And let's see, Amelia, right? Bumble and Light. That's number. That was $5, and that is to Bumble and Light. Amelia. Welcome in. Welcome in. We are summing up our study of the language of design. Tonight we looked at, for those new ones coming in, we looked at emphasis, variety, and unity. And now I am selling some pieces that incorporate those principles and others that we have learned now that we've completed this whole series. All right, this is by Avon, and it is the it's a special piece that was done for the 35th anniversary, and I imagine that it went to their top sellers. But y'all, this is probably one of the most spectacular pieces by Avon I have ever seen, and I don't think it was in their general catalog. Again, I think it was a special uh, anniversary piece to their top sellers. So it should be very collectible. All right, focal point. Focal point. What would you say if I look first for a focal point? I struggle for a focal point, and probably one of the reasons why is that first of all, the color of the stones are pretty much all the same. It's predominantly that beautiful garnet. It's like an imitation garnet, Madeira garnet color. And then there are also some sort of champagne colored rhinestones that are on these ribbons. And in the center, look at that. Look at those stones in the center of this thing. All right. So the only thing that might my eye would finally settle on is because of that flower shape in the middle. It comes down into a center, and it is a quite warm color, that champagne color. So my eye does finally settle there. But if it wasn't for the fact that the designer used line with these bows, the ribbons, looping around, and it keeps bringing your eye back to the center over and over again. Now, there's quite a few, though, that are wanting to take your eye out, which is good. Takes your eye out. Remember, the designer wants to create movement. He wants your eye to move around the piece. And sometimes, I'll tell you that sometimes a focal point can be so strong in a design that you find yourself stuck there. Your eye is stuck there and it's not moving around the piece as it should. Remember the Hobe piece? Look at the similarity. as far as design. I'm not talking about the shape or even the color, but just the design techniques that were used. Okay, where in the whole bay, your eye moves all around because the variety of the color of the stones. Right. Well, on this one, the stones only are moving between the champagne color and the red, but it's the element of line that is so powerful to keep bringing your eye back to the center of that flower. And I could look at this stone, I mean, at this brooch all day long. I could look at this brooch all day long. Let's see how much I've got on this. This is Avon, and I paid $30 for it, and it does come with the box, but I can put it up tonight, and we'll put it up tonight for that $25 amount. So this is going at a deal at $25. Auction has started. It does come with the box. Anybody interested in this Avon special anniversary piece that is really, yeah, Mountain Mama? Awesome. I think it's a great fall piece. Those fall colors. Very nice. Very nice. Anybody else interested in this piece? All right, she has won that, and I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the box with your little ticket here. That's number 3. Congratulations. That's a good deal. You should be able to resell that nicely if that's your intention. Like I said, I paid 30 for it. That's coming to you. Yay. All right. Let me move that out of the way. And I think I've got time for one more. And I think this is, let me just check to see. I think this is also Avon. This is a simple little necklace. Let me back up so you can see it. Simple little necklace that reminds me of the whole bay. Wouldn't that look beautiful together? Oh my gosh. Look at that. What's the similarity? It's in the line work. But I think it's what attracted me to this piece, other than also the Avon has made some really nice pieces. But those two are stunning together. But I have paired it with these earrings, which are, let's see what they are. They're Avon also. And they are KJL, Kenneth J. Lane for Avon. Look at that. Look at that. What's the focal point on these? Not particularly one right away. I think what works for me, what my eye finally settles on, are those 3 little, and notice the number 3, it's an odd number in the design, those 3 little tiny rhinestones that are mimicking little diamond chips. I think my eye settles there, but the use of line, these swirling lines that go around and bring you back in, around, bring you back in. They look like little tiny butterfly wings, or there's a little seed pod that sometimes I have an ash tree or an elm tree, excuse me, out in the yard. Looks like the seed pods that fly. They're very delicate looking. But I have paired, this is Kenneth J. Lane, which is a great designer for Avon, with this Avon necklace. I think the shapes are similar. I think the gold work is similar. So this is a married set, and I think let's talk about variety. I think variety is simply in the line work. This is a lot of repetition of pattern, which is great, creates movement. I just love this little necklace. Um, I- and I don't think that's a bad Mary. Okay, I'm going to put those two together for uh, a whopping $11. Moving that to stage, start auction. That is KJL for Avon. That's a good name. They're screwbacks. They're vintage with this delicate little Avon necklace. Let's look at the clasp up here. It's a spring ring clasp, and it looks like it is 24 inches, which is a nice length. All right. Anybody interested in these two married pieces, both by Avon? This one, Kenneth J. Lane. All right. All right. That has ended. Thank you for looking at that. Talk about variety. Let's look at over the top variety and by a designer that is known for her playful sense of variety. This is I think it's a Betsy Johnson. Uh, Betsy Johnson still got its hang tag on it. Um, Let me just double check that it's a Betsy Johnson. Hang on. Yes, it is. The hang tag confirms that it is the Betsy Johnson. We're talking about variety as a principle of design. First of all, focal point. Where do you look first? Well, that pendant down at the bottom draws my eye, and it is a beautiful little heart shape with a rose. Now, that rose, she repeats that motif up here, but again, I told you variety. She's known for her quirky combinations, and we've got the heart, we've got this little lark, beautiful little charmed rhinestone. This piece is quizzical to me. And look, even the chains. There's a variety in the chains. There's this deep blue that repeats what she's done here and here. The enameling on this lark. Sweet, sweet necklace, and it's still got its hang tag um, from when it sold at Nordstrom's. It sold originally for $45, and I can sell this tonight for another $11 item. Going for $11. A Betsy Johnson signed piece here. Beautiful variety, lots of movement, repetition of shapes, lovely focal point. But yeah, I didn't linger there too long because immediately you're wanting to explore all these other heart shapes. There's heart shapes all through the thing, mimicking the heart shape here. Repetition. Hey, Court Vintage Times, thanks for joining us. Okay. All right, that's ended. Okay. All right. Well, look, I have enjoyed so much, all of y'all, in my room tonight, and I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to call it a night, and I'm so sorry for that. But now that we've ended this series on the language of design, um, as you come into my shows, you're going to hear me more and more using that language, putting it all together. I kind of have held off doing that before until I got the teaching done. And now that I have, you should hear what I've been teaching, reflecting in my own descriptions of jewelry as we go along. But I encourage all of you to pick up the words that are you're comfortable with, the concepts you're comfortable with, and but be yourself. And if I come in your room, please don't get all weird and wacky about how you're describing your pieces because that was never my intention. But I think together we have grown. I hope that we have grown to appreciate the the effort these designers have gone through, their thought processes, and that we have learned to enjoy our pieces more and more. Okay, love all of y'all. Have you run the green check brooch? Did I run the green check brooch? Desiree, my mind has completely left me, and I'm not pulling that up. Uh, I will be back. Watch for me to do a pop up and communicate with me with text in the meantime. And if there's something special you want to see, let me know, and I'll bring it to you. Love all of you. Bye. Have a good night.